is Jack. Just a few days ago, he posted a missing person notice online, saying that both of his parents were missing. But just when the media were scrambling to report it, he admitted in the video that he killed his parents with his own hands. The police quickly showed up at his door and took Jack away on suspicion of murder. And he also directly confessed his accomplice Tang Wenqi on the day of the crime. Jack took advantage of the fact that his parents were at home and lured the two to Tang Wenqi's residence. And that's how the beginning scene came about. After that, in order to prevent the stench of corpses, the two cut the corpses into small pieces, marinated them with salt, and then roasted them in the microwave oven. And the hard bones that couldn't be cut were put in the refrigerator to be refrigerated. Once this case was disclosed, it caused a sensation among the citizens. Even some reporters specifically ran to the prison, trying to get some more explosive content from the mouth of the main criminal. Jack really enjoyed the feeling of being taken seriously, because in the past 30 years of his life, no one had ever cared about his thoughts. As for the accomplice John, he had been hurt by love before. He attempted suicide 3 times. Fortunately, he was rescued in time, but his brain had been seriously damaged. His IQ was only 74. However, when he was being interrogated by the police, he could describe all the details of the case clearly. According to the legal regulations in Hong Kong, the police provided free legal aid for both defendants. But since the case was already very clear, his defense lawyer had long given up any hope. However, the Hong Kong court adopts the jury system. The votes of the people can often dominate the result of the judgment. In the court, a jury composed of 9 people with different occupations, genders, and social statuses was formed. And the wonderful twists and turns of the movie just began at this moment, after the 2 suspects were arrested. The timeline went back to the year 2001, and his first encounter with the accomplice, John, was during a job interview. Everyone else chose to stay away from John because of the bad smell on him, while Jack failed the interview because of others cutting in line. So the two who were also abandoned by society quickly became friends. They complained to each other about the unfairness of fate and dissatisfaction with the environment, until they killed people. When facing the questions from reporters, Jack still looked calm and composed. Soon it was time for the trial of this case. The jury thought that Jack was a highly educated killer with an antisocial personality. At this time, someone raised a question. Jack had a high IQ of 137, while the accomplice Tang Wenqi had an IQ of only 70 due to brain injury. So, when he committed the crime, was it his subjective intention, or was he instigated? However, what no one expected was that John, who had already confessed his guilt, unexpectedly retracted his confession on the spot, claiming that he had never killed anyone. After the principal offender, Jack's guilt was unanimously confirmed. Soon it came to the courtroom on the second day. At this time, the police released the confession video of the accomplice John. The lawyer found out from the interrogation video that John clearly stated when he was arrested that he hadn't killed anyone at all. But it wasn't until the 7th interrogation that he admitted everything he had done. It turned out that within the 41 hours after he was arrested, John had suffered some kind of torture, and he signed the confession agreement under great mental pressure. Under the powerful defense of the lawyer, the sheriff's face immediately turned ugly. Then John began to defend himself. He said that he did live with Jack. On the day of the incident, he just got home from work. He was greeted by a bad smell right in front of him. He turned around and tried to run away, but was threatened. Helplessly, Tang Wenqi had no choice but to help Jack deal with the corpses together. As for the confession agreement signed before, it was all because of the mental torture and oppression he had suffered. When he got excited while talking, he even imitated the sheriff's tone and movements exactly. Could it be that John was really innocent? When the prosecuting lawyer questioned him, John showed extraordinary panic and agitation. He started shouting when he couldn't answer the questions, because Tang Wenqi knew that his silly appearance would help him muddle through. At this time, lawyer Yu defended to the judge and the jury. Firstly, John didn't know Jack's parents at all, and didn't have the motive to kill. Secondly, Jack's IQ was as high as 137. Obviously, John, with intellectual deficiencies, was easier to be controlled. Finally, it was time for the jury to vote. It was thought that Jack's guilt would be passed unanimously. But in the end, an old man with white hair voted not guilty. The funny thing was that he couldn't give the logic and reasons for the not guilty vote at all. When it was time to vote on John's conviction, several people had differences, because in the courtroom, John imitated the sheriff's speech. He didn't seem to be mentally retarded at all. But although all the evidence pointed to him, his silly appearance made people can't help feeling sympathetic. After the jury's voting results were announced in the courtroom, there was an uproar in the courtroom. Jack was found guilty by a vote of 8-1. John was acquitted unanimously. The judge reached a conclusion based on the jury's opinion. Jack was sentenced to life imprisonment, and John was sentenced to 1 year prison for the crime of preventing the proper burial of corpses as he was used. This case of the unfilial son killing his mother, which had caused a sensation throughout Hong Kong, came to an end for the time being. Not long after that, Jack's elder brother came to the prison. But when his elder brother told him that there was also a part of the property left to him in his parents' will, Jack's eyes were full of doubt and horror. On the other hand, John had been accepting media interviews ever since he was released from prison. He said that he often had nightmares now, and didn't know how to start his life in the future. At the same time, there were new tenants coming to that rental house. Surprisingly, the man found a lot of paper documents in the cabinet in the room. They were actually the materials for John. Do apply for the second level account and examination. So is everything we've seen really the truth of the matter?